think we have OBS set up. Let me check. All right, I think we can go ahead and get started. In this guide, we'll talk through building a Mac OS application to display a video as a web camera. At the end of this video, you'll be able to select a video and then display it in Google Meet as an example. If you just want to jump into the code, you can find it linked in the description. To give you a rough introduction about what we're doing, we'll have a base application and a camera extension. And then a rough agenda for today would be that we'll cover step 1 will be the setup, so setting up the application. Step 2 will be the configuration, so configuring our application. Step 3 will be building our extension, and then step 4 will be our demo. I think for the most part we'll spend quite a lot of our time, I think, on the extension itself, and hopefully we can get through this in the next 40 minutes or so. So we're going to go ahead and create an application. We are going to go to Xcode, create a new application, and then we're going to call it video. All right, so now we have the base application. We are it's going to make some modifications here to the application itself. So what I'm going to do is I am going to add some properties in here. So we're going to call this with extension. Maybe we'll do this. So we're going to call this system extension request manager. And then we're going to provide the system extension request manager with some which we'll call log text. All right, this will become more useful in a second, but we're just setting up our application. It's going to be in a frame that we're going to select. We'll give it a minimum width of 1200 and a min height of 980. All right. And then in our content view, we're going to go ahead and set this up. So we created a variable in here called system extension manager. So we need to create an observed object. And we're going to call the system extension. Oh, should I already copied the variable system manager? And then this is going to equal system extension request manager. Import system extensions. So right now I'm just setting up the application in my content view. I also need to set up an extension. But I'm going to get through part of this first to create our application. Then I'm going to add the extension to this in a second. But I'm just going to get through the code itself. So I am going. So we have this observable object. We'll need to build a class for this soon, but I'm just going to set this up. So we're going to have 2 buttons inside our application. One will be to install the extension, and then the second will be to uninstall. So I'll use a VStack to do that. Well, I'll just get rid of these here, and I'm going to create a button, and I'm going to call this install, and it's going to have an action, and then we're going to do system extension request manager, and then we're just going to do install. And I'm going to create another button. I'm going to call this uninstall with the action system extension uninstall. And then under this, we're going to have text, and it's going to display the log text. All right. So now we can go ahead and create this class called system extension request manager. And this is going to be an NS object with an observable object. We're going to publish the log text. So when we go through these, we'll create basically a install method, a uninstall method. We'll probably need something to link the bundles so that the application knows to uninstall. But we're basically going through this process of creating the stubs basically for the. We're going through the process of. We'll create the log text to be able to do that. So if we go here, create log text, this will be a string, and then we'll do install results go here. We'll have an initialization complete. Autocomplete, yeah. Okay. So now we're going to create this method called install. We're also going to create a method for uninstall. I'm also going to use a method to handle bundles. I think that's what we'll sort of start with. Okay, so let's start with install first. So we are going to extension ID equals extension bundle dot bundle identifier. And we're going to create an activation request. System extension requests, and then find activation request. Okay. Then we're going to use that key extension ID, and then we'll do it on the main queue. All right. Activation request delegate. We'll deal with this later. We'll create an extension for this to handle the delegation, but you get sort of where we're going on this. OS system extension manager.shared. I'm going to submit the request when someone hits this button. And the request should be activation request. Right, so I'm going to do something basically almost similar on the other side. But we are just going to change this. The activate request, OS system extension request deactivate. Then I'm going to use the string, and we'll put this on the main queue. Deactive request, maybe this should be called. Do the same thing. OS system extension manager.shared, and then we'll submit this request. Alright, so now we need to create this. So I'll do extension directory URL equals URL. File Reply URL with path. And this will be a string, which will be its contents, library, system extensions. It's relative to the bundle. Oops. Bundle.main.bundle URL. Okay, so now that we got the directory, sorry, we got the no exact calls. Place will figure itself out. Let extension URLs. Okay. Let's put some blocks in here. Extension URLs equals try file manager defaults, the contents of directory. Let's do this one. It's going to be at that URL. Extension URL. No. Extension directory URL. In properties for keys, I'll do this as nil, and then the option will be skips hidden files. Okay. Okay. Now we need to get the first one. Now we need to get the bundle from that. So we're basically getting a path for the extension, and then we're going to find the bundle identifier basically from this method called extension bundle. Extension URL. Let's see. Let's add it in. All right, and then we need to return it. Close this right. All right. So we got some errors that we need to sort out. I'm gonna go ahead and create an extension for this method, and then we're going to use the OS system extension request delegate. This is it, and then we're going to have it fill out some stubs for us. Okay, so this first one is to replace the existing extension. This is for approval. This is if it finished with a result like it did. It installed, and then this one is when it errors. So we just need to fill in these code stubs basically. So in this example, we are going to change the log text and say replaced extension version, and maybe it has these existing methods that we can just use. So it's existing bundle short version. Zero. Yeah, here we go. So basically the same. When it changes, it'll update this log text. This is here. Cannot find value of non-functional type string. Log text appear. Oh, I know why. It's not a method. So we don't need this. Okay. I'm just going to return replace here. Because it expects this output. For the approval, we're just going to say log text equals extension needs user approval. For this next part, for the result, we are going to go through the process of just log text equals, and then we'll put the request in, and then we'll say did finish with results. And then if it fails, we also want to know, we probably want the error code. Okay, and then log text equal extension failed with the error code. All right. We got some errors here. Let's figure out if we can fix them. This got messed up. Let's go back here. Sorry. We should the observed object. Oh, I know. Gotta find activation request. Spelling. All right. So we have part of our application now. So this would install. What we're going to do next is we're going to add some values in here to make sure that our application can sort of works correctly. Entitlements basically allow us to have the right things that we can use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create. I'm going to make some changes in the for our entitlements to make sure that our application has the right access control. So we're going to change this to and row system extension. I'm going to say yes. And other things that we need in here are probably app groups. group should be an array. And then we want to create something in that array. Here we go. So here we need to put in the team identifier, and then it was what do we name this application? I think there's a faster way to do this with the camera. Okay. So I think this looks pretty good right now. So the next thing I'm going to go do is add a maybe it's not a file, it's probably a package. I'm just trying to find out how I add the extension. It's probably a new target. Yeah, here we go. Camera extension. We're going to call this extension. It's going to embed any application. Yep. Okay, so now we've created the extension. It has a bunch of great stubs here, which is awesome. We just need to make some small changes. I think here for us to be yeah, you can see that we need to change this to make sure that it has the relevant access, but we should be moving along here. Okay. So one interesting note is if I was to run this, it won't actually, in order to install an extension, I need to actually run it in the application folder. So what I'm going to go do is I'm going to go and edit the schema here. So when I build the application, it actually installs it in the appropriate place. I just need to figure out what the method is that I need to, or what the script is that I need to run. I think it's like dinit or something, or ditto. Here we go. So I'm going to apply it here. It's ditto, and then I'm going to code signing folder path. I'm going to say applications. I'm going to say full product name. Okay, and I'll just test that this works. Then if I go to my applications folder, I should see it there. All right, I'm going to switch to, so this is the application that we built. You can see we have the two buttons, install and uninstall. If I hit install here, it says it needs to be approved. I'll allow it. And then if I switch back, you'll see that I have a bunch of stubs set up in here. So this actually displays like a line that goes down the screen. You can sort of see the, sorry, this is the, yeah, you'll see that this has this white line that goes basically down the screen. So if I flip over to QuickTime Player thing to sample camera Swift, and then you can see that this line just displays down the screen. So far we're in this configuration step. We now have this thing sort of semi-working. We just need to add a video to it and change this around. So that's sort of next on our list of things to do. All right, now we can start to write our application. So we already have some stuff that's already been done for us in here. I'm going to change the frame rate down to 30, and then I'm going to make a start on making some changes. So the stream is what I care about. So in here, I'm going to set up stream settings, and I need like a bunch of variables. So that reminds me that I need to import a bunch of stuff for this to work. So because we're using a video, we need actually to import core media, import core graphics, import AV foundation. I think those are the three that I need, and then I'll go back to this, where was it, stream settings. Okay, so in order to play the video on a loop, what we need to do is we need to set up an AV asset to do that. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and create basically some stubs for these things. So we need an asset reader. I'm going to call this AV asset reader. We're also going to need an asset. Then we're going to do a track output. AV asset reader track output. Essentially, these things all work together. So the reader itself holds basically the AV asset, and then from the asset reader we can get the track output, and that's how we'll basically stream it. So in here you'll see we'll have a method. So in start streaming you'll see here that this is basically sending this buffer, CM sample buffer out with that image, that white line that was going. So we basically just need to make some pretty drastic changes to this. So I'm just going to get rid of most, let's just say all of this code. But we need to do some things to do that first. So first we need to set up a method that will set up the asset reader. Set up asset reader with video URL, and we'll want to know if it's been set up. Okay, then we'll also need a restart, so we're going to do function restart asset reader with video URL. And then we'll also need a method for processing the stream. Oops. This should give us what we need. Why that's indenting, it's weird. Okay, so now I'm going to set up the asset reader to start. That's probably, it seems like the right approach. So I'm going to call this asset AV asset. The URL video URL. Then I'm going to do a do. Fail error. Okay. I'm going to add the asset to AV reader. Then we're going to get the tracks with media type video. And we have the first one. And if there's a problem, we're going to print failed to get video. Return false because we couldn't get it. Okay. Sure, God, let video. Here we go. Okay, so now we have the video track. Then I want to get output settings. I'll create some output settings. So this will refer basically to the format for the video. So we're going to use KBC. What is it? KCVP pixel string. Okay. CV pixel, and then we'll do 32 A RGB. That's right. So then we'll define the track output as, we think, track output is going to be, needs to be read, so it's the track, video track, then the output settings are what we just picked up. Okie dokie. Then probably do an if on this. If let Oh, okay. So I can keep this track asset here, and then I can do if let track output equals track output asset reader can add track output the track output, and if not, we'll say you can't. All right, and then we'll return false. We can't do that. Then we need before to return the asset reader and check whether it is reading. Oh, sorry. It needs to be reading in order to pick up the file itself, so we need to do that.
We've had a problem. Please try again.
Siri running. Okay, so I think that's setting up the asset reader. Now I need to set up this method for restarting the asset reader. Because we're using a timer here, we need to basically reset it every time we're restarting. So here I'm going to set the timer to cancel. I'm going to also set it to nil. And then I'm going to reset the asset reader too. And then I'm going to set up asset reader with video URL. Is true. So if it works, start the timer with video URL, which reminds me that I need a method probably for start timer. Let's just add this. Else fail to restart the asset reader. Okay, now I need to set up a method for start the timer. With video URL. Oops. Okay, now I need to start the timer. So again, we're just doing something similar. So we're going to cancel the timer. So if if it's starting, we want to make sure that doesn't that it's empty when we're starting the timer. Then we'll dispatch source make timer source, is it? Yeah. And then we already have a queue set up, so we're going to use that timer queue that came from the original stub. we're going to run it on a frequency. So like this timer is going to run every on a schedule basically. So it'll pick up like every frame of the video. So if I was to change that to 60, it'll pick it up at 60 frames a second. So in this example, we'll change the deadline to now, and then it's going to repeating. I think it's repeating. Double keyframe rate. Oh, timer does not like that. Yeah, oh, I think that's right. So I need to set an event handler that will basically start the timer and will process the asset and then move it over to send it basically to process the stream. So in here, for every second of the video, we are making a request. The set event handler will send that request directly over to process. So here we need the value. So in here, we need to pick them up. So I'm going to say, what in the world just happened? I'm going to say, change the syntax here. This is right. Doesn't like handler, so it's just this. Oh, I think this is right now. God let self equals self else return, and then we're gonna get this sample buffer, get the track output, copy the next buffer. And then this is where we're going to process the buffer. Process stream. I'm going to pass in a sample buffer. And this isn't going to work right now because we still need to write this method, but probably do that next. Oops. Okay. So we have this set up. Self process sample buffer. The next thing that I think I need to do is, if this is processing, if it's not processing, then I need to restart. So it's dispatch queue.main, is it? Yeah. Self restart the asset reader with the video URL. Okay. So I need to write this. One thing which I need to do in here is I need to continue the timer. So this just resumes the timer if it reaches this point. Okay. So now I need to process the stream. I need to put some variables in here. So this is a little confusing because we're looking at time, but we need to know the last presented time to know which from the asset reader is going to make a request for that for this sample buffer, and we need to know when it was last presented so that we can show the next so that we can show the sample buffer at the right time. So here we're gonna have to set up the last presentation time. I'm gonna use CM time to start with. We'll just set it as a negative, and then we need the timestamp offset CM time. So because this will maybe potentially take some time to process, we need to handle that when the request is made, which is sort of what we're doing. What we're doing by taking these variables. So in here, I want a sample buffer, and it's going to be that CM sample buffer that I mentioned earlier. Okay, so we're going to get the duration from the asset to start with. And then we're going to just return an empty if it doesn't come through. Then we're going to go let presentation timestamp equals, and then CM sample buffer. Does it get presentation from the buffer? Okay, now I'm going to do if the time is valid, we're then going to operate in this space. So if the time is valid, it's going to say if PTS is less than the last presentation time, we're going to have to get the offset and add it. Okay, and then I'm going to say that the last presentation time is equal to PTS. So each time this runs, we'll then be able to, we'll know when it was picked up. So now I can do the adjusted time, adjusted PTS, CM time, add PTS, and then the timestamp offset. And then we're going to do let the host time. So we're going to then convert this into nanoseconds. 64 CM time, get seconds, and the adjusted PTS. That times that by double. Is it nsec? It's nsec per sec. Nsec per sec. I think that seems right. Oh yeah. And then we can use the stream source. And then we can send it there. So we're going to send this sample buffer. We need more. Is that others? Send. Yeah, here we go. Sample buffer. Discontinuation flag is probably going to be empty. And then we need this host in nanoseconds. All right. So I've got this sorted. We can finally get onto the stream. So when the stream starts, it's going to start streaming. So we need to set this up to get it going. So I'm going to do the video URL that you've seen in different places. So I'm going to get the bundle.main.url for resource. I'm going to call this video with the extension before. If there's an error with this, it's going to cause a lot of problems, so we should maybe just make sure that we handle this. Video file not found in the bundle. Alright, God must throw. Oh, I need to return. There we go. If there's a problem with the asset reader, we also want to go. We also want to know. I'm going to say print failed to set up asset reader, and then we're going to start the timer with the video URL. Okay, let's see if that will build. Cannot call value of non-function. Did I call this? No, I need the setup, not the asset reader. Alright, we got a couple of warnings, but for the purpose of this, we'll ignore those. Okay, I think I have some more work to do on the extension, so I think I need a few more permissions in here. Let's see, app sandbox. I think I need to add the camera in here too. Oops. Camera. Say yes. Okay. All right, I want to build this now. I need to go get a video, so I'm going to go get a video from my machine somewhere. Find a video to add in here. I'm going to add this to both these targets. Okay, so now if I go ahead and build this and I go reinstall my application, so if I show you this, I'm going to uninstall, then install it. You'll see it's installed, and then if I flip over to QuickTime now, get me on double, but if I go to here, it shows the video. And then for some more fun, if I go to Google Meet, and you'll see there's two of me, but if I go ahead and change the settings here, I should be able to change the video settings to this. And just like that, we got a video showing as my camera. And you'll see it's just gonna loop and loop and loop around, which is pretty cool. All right, with that, I'm gonna end here. Appreciate it. Thanks. Appreciate you